Welcome back, everybody, to the podcast. On today's episode, we're going to go back to the basics. We're on episode 170, I believe, and it's time to do a little review of why we even started this thing.
Why did you start this thing, Mike?
We started this thing to help people with the basics and the fundamentals. There's 4 of them.
Fundamentals of life. Today,
How to
folks.
change the way you think to change the way you live.
On Just These Guys, we got Pastor Mike.
We got Dr. Parker.
And we got a baseball story.
And we got baseball today. So 40 years ago,
40 years ago.
1986, Mulvane had a baseball team that I was a part of. Very honored to be a part of. And we started out the year 0-3. So that wasn't looking too good. And then all of a sudden, we figured a few things out, and we went on a 22-game winning streak. We ended up state champions and won 22 games in a row. And how did we do it?
It could be a movie.
How did we do it?
How did you do it, Mike? How did you go on this run?
Well, I bring this up because the Mulvane baseball team right now, they just won their first game at state, and it was a nail biter, by the way, 1-0.
Ooh.
It was close. And so now they've got 2 more games. If they win the next 2 games, they win state for the first time in 40 years.
Boom.
But I guarantee you, so the guy that is the head coach, Mr. Nelson, he was our bat boy. I'm feeling old here. 40 years ago. Yeah, he was our bat boy. And the coach at the time, who is, I believe, is one of his life mentors, he was all about the fundamentals. He was all about, he called them situations. And so every single practice, we would go through situations. We would go through the fundamentals. But in life, just like in baseball, if you don't have the fundamentals down, you may as well just throw everything out the door. It is all about the basics. It's understanding that there are fundamentals that you can work on every single day. And so we're going to do a little review of the 4 fundamentals that Doctor has in his book 12-2. And
How to Transform Your Mind.
Yes, and we're going to...
Available on Amazon.
Because I'm sure there are a lot of people that join us now who have never really heard the basics, heard the fundamentals. And so let's give them a quick review.
I really hate repeating myself.
Mm-hmm. Do you kind of feel like you do it every day?
I do.
Do you almost feel like it's, what is it, when does the Poxitani Phil?
Yeah.
When does he see his Groundhog Day? Yeah.
Well, what's beautiful about repeating myself every day is I get to see the transformation in people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When people learn the 4 fundamentals and they actually put them into practice.
Yeah.
And they begin to see how they can really help them get control over their situation, get control over their emotions.
Sure.
The smile on their face, the relaxation around the eyes, the hey doc, I got this now. That is, makes repeating myself over and over and over again worth it.
That's the win.
Yeah.
That's when you go on a 22-game win streak and have that's the difference maker right there. The fundamentals are something that we can completely lose sight of. But the reality is, if we were to have these 4 fundamentals in place in our lives where it was at the front of our mind all the time, so when we started to kind of trail off in a situation and not handle it the best way, if we have this in our minds, we can literally live a life of peace that we're all looking for.
And if you practice these every day and they are in your mind, the crazy thing is you won't have those situations. You won't have the big drama, the big blow ups, the freak outs, because these fundamentals are literally fundamentals. I mean, they go below what everybody else normally thinks about. And I call them fundamentals. I relate them like you to, athletics, because a lot of people can identify with athletic events, whether it's football or baseball or karate or something, where their coaches, their trainers have, critiqued them on their stance.
Yeah.
Not how well they're performing in the game, but, the stance, the grip on the ball, the way they cock their arm,
Mm-hmm.
when you swing a bat, having that elbow up, those are the things that coaches will work with people on. And when you have your elbow up, then you can hit the line drive. When you drop the elbow, you're going to pop out every time. So those fundamentals of a baseball swing, the fundamentals of throwing a football, these are the things that make the advanced parts of the game easier and makes you more successful at them. And these 4 things that I kind of talk about a lot, we've spoken about how they're nestled into the Bible.
Yep.
They're, throughout Proverbs, throughout the New Testament, but they're also Stoicism,
Mm-hmm.
which was the Greek philosophies from, 300 BC. And the Stoics, they called it, discernment of control.
Mm.
What do you control and what do you not control? And they even went so far as to identify what you think and what you do. And that leads to rational emotional experiences.
Mm-hmm. So before we dive in, and that's the first one, but before we go there, let's talk a little bit about the fundamentals of physical health.
Okay.
And the fundamental of losing weight.
Yes, because you've been on a journey.
I'm on a bit of a journey.
You're a bit of a journey.
Now, I got one more week in May, and then I got June. I'm going to have to crack down on that sucker. But as of today,
you're winning the race.
Well, I'm headed in the right direction still. So
Mike is, again, Mike started his journey at 230 something.
Between 227 and 230, depending on how much of a good day I had the day before.
Mike is now down to 214.
Yeah.
Boom. And I noticed it last week when I was editing the video. I was like, I even texted you, were you wearing a girdle?
And I was. Full body.
Liar.
It all still weighs the same on the scale, though. It's so weird.
Yeah. And Lance's journey, which took a U-turn a couple of weeks ago, and he decided he was going for body mass.
Yes.
I started my journey at 192.6. I got all the way down to 187 during this period, and I am now back up to 194.6.
I'm trying to figure out how I can be a good accountability partner. Yeah.
Well, again, I'm not on the weight loss side of it anymore. I'm building muscle. I need new suits. So
that's right. You're filling them out.
Yeah.
All right. So the basics, you had mentioned the first one, control. What I call it is control freak. That's how I remember it.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the fundamentals, and the first one that Doc starts with, is focus on what you do control.
And before we review them, and as somebody's listening to these, the key is not knowing them. Because every single one of these, people say, oh, yeah, I know. They know. People know.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually taking 20 times a day to actually practice applying these.
Yeah.
Because what you want is the knowledge to become the set point, the knowledge to become the wisdom, the knowledge to become the new way of thinking.
Right. Yeah.
And
the difference between knowledge and wisdom being wisdom is knowledge applied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
living it.
Fundamental number 1 is discerning what you don't control. And that's where a lot of people, I know I don't control them. Oh. And I'm like, shut up. Why is it important to know what you don't control? Because you're not responsible for it.
Sure.
If you don't control something, there is zero use of pouring your power into trying to control it. And I always, the best example I've ever come up with is the rain.
Mm-hmm.
If it's raining outside, I go roll up my car window. Notice I put zero energy, effort, thought into trying to stop the rain.
Yeah.
Because I can't control it.
Yep.
Well, you can't control the past. You can't control the future. You can't control what others think, what others do, or what others feel. Rewind this and listen to it again. You don't control the past, the future, what others think, what others do, what others feel. Write it down, memorize it, tattoo it on your forehead, because anytime you pour energy into those, you're making yourself powerless.
Mm-hmm.
You're pouring power into something you can't change. So once I realize I don't control those things, that frees me to now focus and turn my attention onto what I do control, which is this specific second in time. And inside this second, I control what I am thinking, what I am doing, and thus what I am feeling.
Yeah, we forget that literally 1 second ago is the past.
Yeah.
And it's gone. Can't do anything about that.
Yeah, if I spill this coffee 1 second ago,
Yep.
How does it help the situation for me to stand here and beat myself up and holler and scream and cry because I spilled the coffee 1 second ago?
Yep.
And how more important is it to immediately shift gears into controlling what I do control, which is how to clean it up?
Yeah. So a couple of thoughts from scriptures would be in Galatians with the fruit of the Spirit. The only kind of control that God ever tells us he wants us to have is
Self-control.
So it's the exclamation point on that fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. And then Jesus, he gives us the most amazing wisdom when he says, listen, why are you worried about tomorrow? Let's just take care of today.
Well, and that's one of the other fundamentals. Before we get to it, though, fundamental number 2.
I call it should happens.
Should happens.
Mm-hmm. Don't should on me. I won't should on you if you don't should on me.
And this takes us to a mental filter that I always relate to sunglasses. That when we're driving and we're looking around, we either don't like what we see or the lights are too bright or whatever. And so we will pick up a visual filter called sunglasses and we'll put them on to change our visual experience of the world around us. And either we'll get really dark sunglasses because the light is so bright, or we'll get polarized sunglasses because that helps us see more clearly in the bright light, or we'll get those yellow sunglasses because we fancy ourselves shooters and we want to sharpen the target.
Mm-hmm.
But we will choose the visual filter that we are going to view the world through, depending on the experience we want to have of that world. And we have mental filters that operate just the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most important ones is called should statements. And when we say should, it's a clue that I've chosen a mental filter that is going to cause me frustration and anger, guilt and shame if I point it at myself, and give away control to other people, build resentments, build depression.
And all the cousins got to, have to,
need to.
Yeah.
Expect.
Yeah.
And this is, what was the Rolling Stones song? You can't always get what you want, but sometimes you get what you need. I mean, this concept is in our mind out there that there are expectations and there are preferences. And somehow or another in our society, expectations, should statements, need tos, those are more important than what you want. I need to do this today. I know I want to go play games, but I need to get this done. We pile, we make ourselves feel important in all of this, but the truth is you have a choice to view a situation through a lens of need and a lens of preferences. And preferences, those sunglasses, when you view the world through those sunglasses, there's no anger. There's no guilt. There's no frustration. There's no self-flatulation. What do you want leads to, if you don't get what you want, you get disappointed.
Yeah.
You take back control of everything, and you also create the opportunity for actual happiness.
Yeah.
When you get what you want.
Yeah. So the person out there who's saying, well, there are certain things that we should do. There are certain situations where they ought to. So the litmus test is this. Is it a law?
Is it a law?
Yeah.
Now, this is the beginning. This is when, the training wheels. This is what I had to give people to buy into this concept that, okay, you know what? Let's say there are a few laws out there. Yes, the speed limit on the highway is 75. So you should drive 75. That's a law.
You should drive 75.
But most of life is going to be best dealt with preferentially. So, for example, the highway, I got to drive 75. I can't believe this is stupid. I should be able to drive fast. Is the speed limit 75? Yeah. Shut up. Drive 75. Now, how do you want the trip to go? Mm-hmm. Follow the law. Now, how do you want things to be? Do you have to file that piece of paper? Yes, and I hated it. This is a little much writing. File the paper. Shut up. Now, how do you want the application to go? How do you want the application process to go? There are certain laws in this universe. Now, the advanced stuff, the graduate school stuff, if you can get there, is to view it all. I want that job, so how do I get the job? I fill out this piece of paper. I focus on what I want, and then now I can enjoy the application process. Now, I want to take care of my vehicle, so I'm going to drive safely. I want to set a good example for my kids. I want this trip to be safe, so I'm going to observe all traffic safety laws. How do you want things to be? What do you want? And that is biblical. Luke chapter 10, 38 through 42. Jesus visits the home of Martha and Mary. Mm-hmm. Martha busies herself making all the preparations. Jesus sits in the living room. Mary sits in there listening to him. Martha comes in and says,
well, look at her doing I'm doing all the work in here. You need to tell her what to do.
I could do the Chosen.
You really should. You could do all the voices. She should be helping me.
Exactly.
Tell her she should be helping me.
And that's the deal with shoulds, is they lead us to self-righteousness. Because look what just happened. Martha, who knows who the guest is, mm-hmm. she calls him Lord, mm-hmm. is now presuming to tell God how to run things.
Yeah.
You need to tell her, get her to help me out. Mm-hmm. And his response was, you stress yourself out so much.
Yeah.
Fundamental number one. Very few things actually needed. In fact, there's only one. And so just going off that sentence, 99.9999% of the time that we are saying should, must, have to, need to, got to, supposed to, we are stressing ourselves out in situations where it is not necessary. Mm-hmm. He turns and says, Mary has chosen what is better.
Yep, better.
And that's a preference. Which is better, the Chiefs or the Steelers? Mm-hmm. Which is better, the ocean or the mountains? What do you prefer? What would you like? Mary chose what she prefers, and that is the alternative, sunglasses. I can take off the should statements, set them on the dash, and pick up the preferential statements and put them on, and now approach my world through a new lens, a lens that might bring me disappointment if I don't get what I want. But since I'm in control, I immediately shift gears back into pursuing what I want. I want to do this. Well, that didn't work. Well, let's try this. Well, let's try this. Well, let's try this. I want some ice cream. Oh, I ate it all last night. You know what? Brahms is still open. Boom. And when I get what I want, I get happy.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how that works.
So fundamental number one, what do you control and what do you don't control? Fundamental number two, should statements versus preference statements, changing the mental filter to change your experience. Fundamental number three, you alluded to earlier.
It's the what ifs.
Worry.
Yep.
Worry.
I call it the fear factor.
It is insanity.
Mm-hmm.
And I get everybody who comes to my office every time to tell me they are actually insane. I prove it to them. They own it. Can I
It's a
prove
good
it
place
to
to
you?
start. Oh, I know. I already know. But you can prove it.
Well, think about if I were to walk in this morning. This is a complete hypothetical, people. If you're just tuning in right now, Lance is doing a hypothetical. But say I walked in and said, "Hey, did you see that interview with Britney Spears last night?" You know the what I'm talking about, the singer with the kind of the crazy, you know, she shaved her head and then she got a DUI recently, went through a divorce, and you know. But anyway, during that interview, I don't know if you saw it, she said, "I need a guy like Lance." Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, yes, I hear you. So I ran in there and I got on the computer and I bought tickets. I'll be going to Vegas tonight. I'll fly in about 8 o'clock. I'll get a limo. I'll drive over to her house. And when she answers the door, I'm going to say, "Brittany, it's me." And she's going to say, "Oh my God, Lance, I've been waiting for my whole life. We're going to get married at the Little Pink Chapel. I may not be back next week. I'm going to figure out how to do this podcast from Vegas. You up for that?"
Sure.
Now, how do I sound?
Yeah.
How do I sound?
A little nutty.
A little nutty.
Mm-hmm.
What makes it nutty? I'm reading somebody's mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm predicting the future. And I'm acting on it.
Mm.
Now, technically, what makes this insane, it's all positive.
That is what makes it insane.
Britney Spears could like him. But we will sit and do it negatively all day long.
So true.
Oh, they don't like me. Oh, they're going to laugh at me. Oh, what if I get over there and this goes on and that goes on? Then I won't be able to do that. No, I'm not going to go.
I'm never going to be able to live life again.
I'm not going to be able to live without them ever again. We're predicting the future. We're reading other people's minds and we're acting on it. And it is insane.
If I drive there, I'm going to get a flat tire.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what do?
I stay home.
Don't leave the house.
Don't leave the house.
Yeah. No, what you do in that situation, if you're worried about getting a flat tire and you're thinking maybe you'll end up cranking it up and it'll tip over, you actually go and you check the pressure in your spare and you make sure you got a jack with you. And what you do is you change it from a worry to...
Well, the Bible, how many times does it say not worry in the Bible?
A lot.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to say the number.
Yeah. I'm not sure about it.
The rumor is...
It's at least... Well, it's somewhere around 365, so it's It's like once a day.
But what I took away from that when somebody said that was, again, the Bible is not a book.
Right.
So one guy did not sit down in a weekend and write this book and decide to say that 365 times. This is a nugget of wisdom because, Genesis was written, 1500 BC.
Right.
Paul's stuff, and, they were written in the hundreds, 80s.
Yep.
And so over the course of 2,000 years, these books, these letters, these proverbs, Psalms, these things have all been written down over the course of a couple of thousand years. And about every 100 or 200 years, some smart guy goes, "Hey, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't worry.
Yeah.
Write that down. That's good stuff." So it's wisdom that keeps coming back around over and over and over and over again. Might we pay attention to it?
It's amazing how many things you worry about. And then when you got a little hindsight for that situation, you didn't need to worry about it.
Well, statistically speaking, 90% of those things that we worry about never happen.
That's 9 out of 10.
Yes.
That's easily the majority of your day wasted worrying about stuff that you didn't need to worry about.
Now, with present company accepted, how many times, roughly, have you been told not to worry? Thousands.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say.
And how many times have they told you what to do instead?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where fundamental number 3 comes in. We worry, we imagine we can pretend to read somebody else's mind or predict the future, and we start acting on it. Worry, jumping to conclusions. The alternative is, as you were alluding to with the spare tire, is to take the worry, make it a genuine concern. It is possible I could get a flat tire. It is possible I'll struggle to pay the bills. These are possible negative futures. And if those are possible, then the best thing we can do today is to come up with a plan to deal with it.
Sure.
If it actually occurs.
Yeah.
So we check our spare. We make sure that we got the proper tools in the truck.
Mm-hmm.
And once we make a plan for the concern, we let it go.
Yep.
Everybody driving around right now has not thought about whether or not they're going to get a flat tire in the last week.
Mhm.
They've not worried about it.
Yeah.
But everybody driving around right now has a plan
Sure.
and knows isn't Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
No, once we come up with a plan, we let the worry go.
Mm.
I got a spare. I practice in the driveway one day. So if I get out on the road, I know what I'm doing.
Yep.
Or the ladies will say,
Call my husband.
Let me tell you a really good plan that not a lot of people know about is how cheap AAA is.
yeah.
It's like $65 a year.
Yeah.
A year.
And you get a family plan, get everybody on that sucker.
Heck yeah. And they'll come out and they'll change your tire for you.
Mm-hmm.
They'll come out and they'll air your spare up if it's not aired up. That happened to me one time too. AAA is a beautiful thing. So yes, fundamental number 3 is the what ifs.
And that is a lot of what you were describing your coach doing. Situational ball.
Yep.
So what if they hit it to third base? How will you handle that? What if it is a bunt? How do you handle that? What if it is a pop fly? How do you handle that? What if you drop the ball after catching it? How do you handle that? You take the negative scenarios and plan for them. So when they do occur, you have a response ready, and then you take a bad and make it a good.
Yep. Runner at first and third, one out. What are you going to do? Then he hits it somewhere. And you got to know what the heck you're going to do. But you know it before the batter hits the ball.
Right.
You know what's going to happen before it's coming.
Yes.
That's the difference maker. You're not just standing there and, just your mind is blank, standing out there picking dandelions. You are prepared.
Yeah.
You have gone through the fundamentals. You have gone through situations, and it just life. And then you can focus.
And for 25 years, I had to go testify in court, very frequently. And I have no idea what the attorneys are going to ask me.
Mm.
I mean, I have my report, I have my research, I have my work that I've done, and they've had my report for 6 months or a year preparing to cross-examine me.
Yeah.
I have no idea what they're going to ask. So I sit down and I go through every possible scenario and come up with potential responses and answers. If they ask this, I'll say that. If they ask this, I'll say that.
Yeah.
So that when I'm on the stand and they're firing questions at me, I am prepared. And I'm also prepared for not having an answer.
Mm.
What do you do if you don't have an answer?
Stare blankly.
You walk in the door and your wife says, what do you do? Come on, let's go.
You smile. You just smile.
You have a response ready to go.
And that's the smile. I ain't saying nothing. It's only going to get me in trouble.
Look around.
What
Start looking for the exit.
Yeah.
Step back towards the door.
I pre-forgave you. Thank goodness for that.
But yeah, whatever the scenarios are that you're dealing with in life, there are potential negative scenarios out there.
Sure.
The best thing you can do is to come up with a game plan to deal with them in case they occur. Okay, what if my boss offers me a raise? What if they say, we're needing to cut back? We're going to let people go in a month. How would you handle these life-changing events?
Sure.
Sit down, come up with plans to prepare to deal with it.
Yep. Not to create a worry for yourself, but to take that worry and put some control into it and turn it into a concern.
I don't control the situation. I control my response.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can now walk through various situations to determine what my response will be.
Yep.
Now, that's half the equation. Once you do those things, you tend not to worry anymore. But step 4, that future that you're worried about, is it possible? Therefore, by definition of the word possible, this negative thing could occur, but there are the possibility of positive futures out there.
Heck yeah.
So, of all the possible futures out there, which one do you want to see happen?
Mm-hmm.
If there's a future where you fail at something, there's a future where you succeed. If
Yep.
there's a future where you don't get the job, there's a future where you do get the job.
Or an even better job. You have the choice of, well, we don't control what other people think, what other people feel, what other people do. We do control what we feel, what we think, what we do.
Boom.
And it can take you right into a life of the fourth fundamental, which is, what do you want? What do you want?
And the fourth fundamental you call the roof that pulls it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Negative thinking versus positive thinking.
Yep.
And negative thinking, negative Nelly, we don't like being around. He's so negative. How do you know when somebody's thinking negative?
How they talk and how they look. And
Here's negativity in 30 seconds. Negativity is any thinking that leads to a negative emotional experience or results in a negative behavior. Got it?
Yep.
And that negative behavior usually results in a negative outcome. So any thinking that leads to a negative emotional experience results in a negative behavior, promotes a negative outcome. How do I know when somebody is thinking negatively? And you don't need a PhD to figure this one out. The word not.
got to get the knot out.
Any variation of that word, not, don't, do not, can't, cannot, did not, didn't,
Mm-hmm.
ain't not.
Now you're going down south.
Anything with the not, nothing, never, not ever, nothing is not a thing. Any word that has not in it is a negative thought. And the moment you say the sentence or think the sentence, I don't want, you now see what you don't want. You're presenting that image to your mind. Your mind is presenting it to your brain, so your brain reacts negatively. I don't want McDonald's, and now I start to dry heave. I used to do this at the university. I would start describing something gross.
Yeah.
And I would watch for the students who are dry heaving. Oh God, stop. Oh my God, I'm going to throw up. But it's I'm imagining it. There's no cat hair with pudding around here. It's just a thought. But I'm having a physical reaction to what I'm imagining. And so when I say I don't want something, I'm now imagining it. So I will have a negative experience, and that is going to result in a negative behavior.
It's amazing what the mind, and it's the difference, you've talked about this, the difference between your brain and your mind. Your brain is real, your mind is not.
Exactly.
And we can imagine ourselves into a physical response.
74% of all medical problems at a family medical clinic, according to research, is the result of psychosocial stress.
Crazy.
Worrying about things, imagining things, how we think not just impacts our emotions, but it impacts our physiology. And the alternative, the way to deal with it, the what to do, instead of being negative, is to be positive.
Mm-hmm.
Happy, rainbows and unicorns, I'm happy. No. What do you want? You take the not out.
Yep.
Take the not out of the sentence. I don't want. Well, what do you want? What can you do? What did go down? Something, not nothing. Once you take that word out of this, and sometimes it's just that simple of an exercise. Remove the word not from your vocabulary and see what happens to your mind. Where do you want to eat? I don't want to go to McDonald's. I didn't ask you where you don't want to go. I said, where do you want to go? I'll have to think about it.
Right. Yeah, it sounds super simple and it sounds almost silly, but it is so powerful.
Oh, yeah.
And it is such a factor in our lives every single day. Every day. When we have our default has become to think negatively. And when that starts to change, everything else changes.
One of my, and this is the get ready for the get out of here button. This all boils down to two simple sets of instructions. You take all four of these fundamentals and you work on them every single day. You're going to land in this spot right here. And before I say it, I want you to imagine Greg Lloyd, linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers,
Okay.
who just destroyed quarterbacks' careers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a video out there somewhere, I'm going to have to find it, of Bill Cowher coaching Greg Lloyd during a game. And he's got Greg Lloyd hitched up by the shoulder pads. And Greg Lloyd has that 1,000-yard stare. And Cowher is thumping him on the chest with his hand, spitting in his face, the jaw.
Yeah.
And he is saying, rush the quarterback, rush the quarterback. And Greg's just staring into oblivion, getting psyched up.
Yeah.
And he is saying, the game is very complicated. You're going to have running backs pulling out into the flat for the dump-off route. You're going to have linemen pulling or pass protecting. You got people running across the middle. Forget all of that. Your one job, Greg, rush the quarterback.
Mm.
So when you take all four of these fundamentals, you boil them down to this. What do you want? How do you get it?
Mm.
What do you want? How do you get it? Every other thought is a distraction.
What do you want? How do you get it?
What do you want? How do you get it? Meditate on that all day long. What do you want? How do you get it?
Dang.
What do you want?
Talk about focus.
How do you get it?
What y'all think about that?
What do you want? How do you get it?
What do you want? Tell me what you want. That's good, Doc. Thank you for that review.
I think that's a record time for going through all four fundamentals.
That's pretty quick, really. We used to take like an hour and a half. That's good. So good, though. Now, rewind this and listen to it again and write those down. And then we have them on our bathroom mirror. That's so we get a review while we're brushing our teeth. It's good. Thank you, Doc.
See you next week.
See ya.